Into sharp focus, reports emerging that Malaysia Flight 17 could have avoided hostile airspace for an additional $66 a passenger, but chose to take the cheaper route. As you can see, airliners steering clear of that area now, leaving us to wonder how global hotspots will affect the future of air safety. With me now is CEO and President of Xenophon Strategies, David Fuscus. We also have Tom Sullivan back with us as well. David, let me start with you, because that was immediately the question, was why was this Malaysian aircraft over this area? What would it have cost to go around? It's now being estimated that it was somewhere between $15,000 and $18,000, roughly $66 a passenger. How does this change things to know that?
Well, the Malaysian Air wasn't the only that was there that day. On that particular highway in the sky, there were about 290 aircraft that went through it on the 17th of July. You know, airlines pick the most efficient route, and they rely on an international system of warnings about where to fly. And
well, but there were a lot of airlines that weren't going through that area. So, it was a conscious decision. You know, airlines out of the U.S. were not going through that area. Tom, what do you think about this? I mean, does it change the cost analysis?
I think the other guest is exactly right. This is a situation where there's highways in the sky. You follow them. There were plenty of other airlines that were there. Yes, some may have gone around. Yes, the FAA said, don't, U.S. airlines, we don't want you going over there. But it was something that was inconceivable to just about anybody that an airliner would be picked as a target and shot at 33,000 feet. So are they going around it now? You bet they are. That map that we showed you that is a graphic from the flights today, and they are definitely going around the border. But that wasn't something that Malaysia wasn't the only plane. So how long does that last? No, but David, so how long does that last? I mean, does it change the financial equation going forward? You know, we talk about money because the show is called Money. Does it change the way that you make this decision now that this has happened? Or
airlines are always looking for the most efficient route so they can use the minimum amount of fuel possible. A 777, for example, goes through about
I know, but does that change, David? We've covered that ground. Does that change? Does this change that? I mean, do they weigh that money differently?
Airlines are going to continue to rely on the international system of warnings that come from the International Civil Aviation Organization and through their own governments, through the regulatory bodies. Now, they're not, of course, they're not going to intentionally put an aircraft and their passenger in harm's way, but they're also not in the business of assessing. Those warnings have to come from the governments and regulatory bodies.
And it comes from what's called their dispatch center. The dispatch center tells the pilots, here's your flight plan, and we've laid it out because of a lot of different things, weather, you name it. But now they've added in, to answer your question, Melissa, is they've obviously added in, because of the route change, they've added in.
But you see the opposite reaction of what's going on in Tel Aviv. You know, the FAA lays the ban down and says that you can't fly in there, and then you see outrage. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg making a point, flying in, saying that it's unfair to the city, that this is safe. So, that, I mean, that's sort of the flip side of the coin. Tom, what do you think of that?
I wouldn't fly in there. And I think Mayor Bloomberg is out of line. This is crazy. It's like saying, I don't like something the president does and people call you a racist. This is like saying, well, I don't want to fly into Tel Aviv because there's missiles flying all over the place. Well, therefore, you're pro-Hamas. That's crazy talk. This is simply, nobody wants to take the liability when you got rockets randomly flying around the city.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Gentlemen, thanks to both of you.